Welcome to COVID Stories, a digital memoir from the pandemic. Hello, beautiful ones. Today's installment of COVID Stories is about pigeons, bats, ducks, and us. Turns out relationships with animals can be just as complex and misunderstood as our relationships with other humans. Enjoy.
So, I have been living alone during this quarantine, during this COVID 19 punishment for our president, whatever you want to call it. I've been doing this alone for the last 2 months. And I will tell you, at first, things were going just fine, okay? Because I had a schedule, I had a routine, okay? And I'll tell you what that is. At first, I would get up, I would turn on the television. I would see the little coronavirus logo, and then I would just say, not today. And then I would turn the TV off and I would go to sleep. Okay, go right back to bed. And that worked, right? And then I would also bury my head in the sands of vodka and Netflix. Totally fine, at first. But then I realized that, I can't keep living like this. I have to do something else with my time. And so what I started to do is I started to go out onto my balcony. Right? Now, before any of you think that perhaps I am some sort of elite, you should know that last week I had a slice of cheese for lunch. So while, yes, there might be a nice view, that is a very hungry view, okay? There might be people that I'm looking out onto who probably had more than a slice of cheese. So it all evens out, okay? Now, one day I go out there to have my moment of reflection, okay? And I stop because I see something that I have not seen in an incredibly long time. There is a pigeon on the balcony on a chair just chilling. Now, for those of you who perhaps have been around a living being in the past 2 months that has been in your home, this might not be a big deal. However, this is not my story, okay? So immediately all the thoughts come into my head, right? First, how did this pigeon get here, right? Does this pigeon know who I am? How come I think that that pigeon is actually thinking about me? These are the thoughts that are running through my head. So after I process this, I then go, all right, I need to get in the shower. So I get in the shower and I get dressed and I come back out because let me tell you something. If you are going to be a guest at my home, I'm going to put my best foot forward. And I don't care if you maybe have ate food off the ground. That's not my issue. You are a guest in my home, so I will treat you with respect. So I come out there, I see the pigeon is still there, right? The spark is still live. And so I do what any sort of reasonable person would do in a situation like this, is I immediately start taking video and I put all the videos on Instagram. Because if this video doesn't get more than 10 likes, then this relationship is not real and we are done, okay? So, after I put all these videos up there, someone leaves a horrible comment. And they write, what if that pigeon poops on your chair? First off, that is a dear friend of mine, and I will not allow you to disrespect that animal. Second of all, if this pigeon does in fact do that, then you know what? I learned something about myself. I learned what I'm into. I learned what I'm not into. But you know what? That is my journey. Okay? That is something that I need to go through. Okay? So, I'm there. I'm looking at the pigeon. And then, like that, it takes off. It flies away. As if I wasn't ready to break up breadcrumbs and throw them out onto the balcony so we could dine together. I was ready to have that experience. So after I have emotionally healed, okay, from all of this, I decide that there's been enough time, there's been enough space for me to go back out to that balcony, okay? And, I realized something this is exactly like when you go back to that restaurant that you and your ex used to go to, but you go because you need to be stronger than the emotions that that place carries. And I knew that I had to do that. Okay? So, I go back out onto the balcony, right? And even though I am emotionally healed and I'm ready, I look down at the chair that the pigeon and I once shared, and I see that, yes, this pigeon has in fact defecated all over this chair. So I learned a few things, right? I learned that toxic relationships also exist in nature with animals. They are not just exclusive to us people. And one of the most important things I've learned from all of this is that you cannot trust a pigeon with a smile.
So I'm at the grocery store the other day and I'm waiting there like I always am with my mask on and my bag and everything. And I hear this guy on the phone and he's talking about the only reason that we're in this situation with coronavirus is because Chinese people are eating bats. And I don't know what happened, but I just snapped and I just lost it and I just flipped out and I was like, dude, it's not because Chinese people are eating bats. It's because I eat bats too. Like, it's very irresponsible of you to just blame Chinese people. You guys don't know this, but a lot of black people also eat bats. At the same time, I'm making this up completely, just because I hate this guy so much. And then at a certain point, I flip out on him and I go like, and also, how you gonna get mad at Chinese people for doing what they do? Like, white guys go down to the Amazon to lick toad nuts just to get high. So it makes no sense. And also, I don't even believe this idea where this guy's talking about where it's like, oh, people are eating bats and this and that. I was like, dude, Ozzy Osbourne has been biting the heads off of bats, making bat popsicles since 1986. And I saw that guy in a Best Buy commercial last week. So why don't you shut the fuck up? And that's my Corona story.
Hello. I'd like to tell you the story of my duck friends that I've made during the coronavirus. One of the things that you'll see a lot on the internet lately is nature is healing. You'll see maybe pollution rates are down because we're all inside, so nature is healing. Or you'll see maybe a cow who hasn't been hit by a car, nature is healing. But what you don't see is all the ways that nature would otherwise be depending on us and our shitty habits. And now it's being robbed of it. For instance, in my case, I've been quarantining in Oxford, England, and one of the only things that I can do right now is walk down to the River Thames. It's normally quite a bustling little touristy spot, and there's all this wildlife, there's geese, magpies, and all these ducks that would otherwise, normally be depending on people throwing bread into the river. That's how they would get their food. So now it's all these ducks and stuff are really hungry. So I get the bright idea. I start saving up stale bread and taking it down with me to the river when I take my book down to read or whatever I'm doing. And one day, the most incredible thing happens. Feeding little ducks, and then this whole family comes up. It's a mother and her 6 babies, and they are, they're a little. Mom ducks is a little hesitant. I'm a big human. I could be a predator or whatever. So she's allowing her little baby ducks to get a little bit closer, and they're adorable. And I live in Philly. I'm not otherwise really getting the chance to see baby ducks. I'm loving it. So I make sure the next day to be there again, same time, same place, with bread. And this time, I guess the mother duck trusts me a little bit, and I am getting like unprecedented access to these baby ducks. They're coming right up to me. They're my guys now. There's Quacky Feathers Honky, Beat Boy, Waddles, and Steve. That's what I named them. That's their names from now on. And they love it, and I love it. I am adoring it. So they get their fill, they kind of go away. I go back to my book, and then the next day, the third day, I ran into a bit of trouble. I used up all my bread. So the third day, I go with my book down by the river, and there's all these expectant ducks that come up to me, and among them is this mother duck who comes up to me. Now she only has 5 baby ducks with her, and I don't know what happened. I'm hoping Steve just emancipated. He had good lawyers, and he got out of there. But the mother duck is quacking at me. It seemed, I don't know too much about duck emotions. She seemed like she was quacking at me in anger, and I was empty-handed, and she kind of like shirked me, and she swam away, and I'm sitting there thinking like, don't be mad at me. You lost one of your baby ducks, and I'm the bad guy. But then I'm thinking, no, she's a single mom doing the best she can. I don't want to start any trouble with her. But then I've gone back with bread, and I've never seen them again. It's been like 2 weeks now, and I haven't seen this mom or her baby ducks. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is, in conclusion, kind of is, Steve the duck, I hope if you're out there, I hope you had good lawyers. I hope you're getting at least a child support check from your mother duck.
I have some exciting news for you. First Person Arts' digital programming is expanding. On June 23rd at 7:30 p.m., we will broadcast our first ever virtual Story Slam, hosted by Chris Lundy and featuring 5 of our Grand Slam winners in competition for the title All-Star Storyteller. And the next COVID Stories installment will be released on July 7th as a podcast. COVID Stories is becoming a podcast starting July 7th. Don't worry, video installments will still be available on our website and YouTube channels. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and go to our website, www.firstpersonarts.org, for more info.